Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time now to talk about a very common and very important material that needs to be recycled, which are called metals. Here are the scrap metals, in case you are wondering, here on the picture that we are talking about. So metals are products or items or goods made from metal, either pure or alloyed with other metals, to achieve desired properties like strength, durability, or corrosion resistance. So these products serve industrial purposes, various industries and purposes, ranging from construction to daily use. So here is how you can manufacture your own metals or iron by recycling scrap metal that we see here in the picture. First of all, you collect the scrap metals from construction sites, from households, businesses and industries. Common sources include appliances, vehicles, cans and structural steel. There comes a time when they are no longer usable in that state and they are thrown away, and then we can just go and collect them and then sort them and separate them into categories. Ferrous metals like iron and steel are grouped together, while non-ferrous metals like aluminium, copper and brass, etc. are grouped separately. So sorting is done manually or with machines using magnets, eddy current separators or optical sorters. After that, then we have to remove the grease and washing, because most metals have contaminants like paints and oils and coatings, which have to be removed from the metal using chemical baths, solvents or high pressure washers. So this is what we are talking about when we are talking about cleaning the metals. It depends. Various chemical metals need different chemicals depending on the kind of damage that we see on the metal. But eventually the metals have to be free of rust and shining and sparkling like the ones that we see in this picture. So after that, we have to shred the metals. Large scrap metals are fed into shredders that break them into smaller and uniform pieces, and shredding increases the surface area for easier melting and sorting in later stages. This is what we talk about when we're talking about shredding. The machines the scrap metal is fed onto this machine that we see in the picture. Then that machine is going to break it into pieces, and sometimes if you grind it into powder so that it can be easy to melt. So if we do not have the machine, we can shred it manually. As you can see, these men are crushing the metals using hammers, although it is very ineffective and it's going to take a long time. So rather, a shredding machine is a little bit better. So after shredding, then it's time to further purify the ore that we are now having, rather the raw material, by separating it from the contaminants. So we can also use what we call magnetic separation, where magnets are used to extract ferrous metals like steel, and they are the ones that can stick onto a magnet. We can also use eddy current separation, where non-ferrous metals like aluminium and copper are separated using an eddy current separator, which repels these metals based on electromagnetic properties. So we can also use density-based separation, where heavy metals like lead are separated from lighter materials like aluminium using air or water-based density systems. There are also some advanced techniques like optical sorters and X-ray fluorescence scanners that can detect and sort metals based on composition and purity. Whatever you have, it's best that you can learn how to use it now before you start operating this business. So this is just an example of what we're talking about. This is the magnetic separation, so where the ferrous metals can be easily extracted from the scrap metals using the magnets that we see hanging on top there. So after that, then we melt the metals that we want, that we would have extracted from the mixture that we were discussing earlier on. It has to be melted. So sorted and cleaned metals are melted in specialized furnaces designed for the specific type of metal. For example, blast furnaces are used for steel. Induction furnaces are used on non-ferrous metals and that have lower melting temperatures. So melting temperatures vary based on the metal type. For example, aluminium is easy to melt. At about 660 degrees, it will be molten into liquid, and it also cools down faster than all the other metals. Steel is the one that is the most stubborn. It takes up to 1370 degrees Celsius or 3000 degrees Fahrenheit to melt. Copper also follows on that list at 1085 degrees Celsius. So recycling metals typically requires less energy than producing metal from iron ore, because it is going to need almost double the temperatures that we see displayed here on the screen. So after melting the metals, they are going to turn into liquid. You melt them here in the blast furnace. This is the one. This is the industrial scale. You can also build your own even at home, fortunately, and get the right chemicals that can produce rather the right kind of fuel that can produce this kind of heat. So as you can see, after burning, there are so many waste materials that are also going to come out, and then the pure iron ore is going to come out as liquid at the end of this process. So when you have finished after this process, you have to start purifying the iron by so many processes. We have what you call electrolysis, which is used for metals like copper and aluminium to ensure a high purity. We can also use chemical processes that can remove impurities. There are certain chemicals that we can pour into the mixture and that can help the impurities to come to the surface and float, and then we can easily scrape them out in order to remain with the pure molten iron liquid. So we can also refine additionally using oxygen blowing or slag removal in order to enhance the quality of the molten metal, because if any foreign objects like stones, etc., can fall into the mixture, whatever machine that is going to be made using that iron is not going to last long, because sooner or later the stone is not going to mix with the remain rather inside the iron. It is going to crack and it is going to fall off, and then that machine is going to break. So we also have to talk about solidifying and casting the iron. That purified molten iron then is then poured into molds or cast into forms like bars and sheets, etc., or ingots. These are then cooled and solidified for further processing. The bars, many machines are made using using a collection of individual metal iron bars. So after this, then we talk of the finishing and the reformation of the iron. Solidified metal forms are then processed into usable shapes such as wires, pipes, or sheets. There are also advanced rolling and stamping machines that can give the recycled metal its final structure. If you want it to be a circle, if you want to make metal chains, etc., and then those rolling and stamping machines can help you make it as flat or as round or cylindrical rather as you want. Final products are then inspected for purity, strength, and consistency, and defective materials, fortunately, are not thrown away. They can be returned back to undergo the same process until they come out in the right shape and in the right quality that you want. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The finished recycled materials can then be sold to manufacturers, or they can be used at home in order to use to make construction materials, automotive parts, cans and packaging, and electronics, etc. So if you do this, ladies and gentlemen, you can be able to start your own iron and steel manufacturing plant at home without necessarily having to dig for the iron ore on your own. All the best, ladies and gentlemen.